Okay, we are live. I have clicked on the game. um, I'm also going to click on the map. Ooh. Um, I went back because we haven't done this for 2 weeks, and I was on holiday. Rosie and I were on holiday, um, which isn't weird. We're married. Um, anyway, I went back to remind myself of what we'd done in the previous episode, and I remembered that there were a few things that came up that I was supposed to go and check into because we didn't have time or we wanted to move on, and I couldn't remember what those things were. So I actually went back 2 episodes and went through it and just I just started building a map because we have the permanent map in the game, but it doesn't contain any objects or NPCs or anything. So I just thought, you know what? At this point in the game, I think it'd be useful just to kind of start to put together where we've been and where things are and where we haven't been, importantly. So I haven't gone back right to the beginning. I've just gone back basically to the roundabout. So I've got this branch here to the bus station and this branch here south, down Long Street and to the university. But I did encounter some things that I'd forgotten and some things that we completely missed first time we did them. So I'm just going to kind of run through. The first thing that I remembered was the war memorial. I noticed we have a poppy in our inventory, and I couldn't remember where we got a poppy from, but it was on the war memorial in the abandoned park, where we also found a twig, which is like a leafless twig that we thought might at some point be a wig, but is also potentially a useful twig for something. But the war memorial has a lot of space on it, and the names are Christian names followed by numbers because there are only, I think it's 35 sanctioned surnames on the island. I'd totally forgotten that fact, and that might come up later on. And each of those surnames has a number. So somewhere there's a list, and it may be that we can interrogate the guidebook, which I haven't done yet. I haven't interrogated the guidebook at all. I suspect there's probably quite a lot we could ask it. But maybe that's for next week. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I remembered there was a dove at the bus station. I'd forgotten there was a dove flying around. We couldn't figure out what to do with it at the time, but it's there. And then in the public convenience in the bus station, where we got the appointment card to go to Arbut Maps and Antiques. First of all, you can't go in there unless you have that card. I tested that. But also, there's a mirror and a soap dispenser. And we looked in the mirror, and it told us that we can see both of our bodies kind of superimposed, which is a bit creepy. But we never did anything with the soap dispenser. And if you use the soap dispenser, soap will come out and go into the sink, and it won't go down the plug hole because it's too viscous, but you can't pick it up either because you've got nothing to put it in. You can convert it into sap by taking the O out, but in which case it's also too viscous to go down the plug hole, but you also don't have anything appropriate to put it in to carry. But you can also turn it into a sop by taking the A out, and you'll turn it into a piece of bread that's been soaked in some brown liquid, presumably gravy, which you can carry with you. So if we ever need soap, we can go and pick up a sop and carry it around and convert it back into soap if we need it. So there's a whole object that we never discovered at the time.
Did you know the word sop before doing that?
Well, I mean, I know the word sop can be used to describe a person, and I've seen it used, but yeah, something that's sopping wet is there's a noun sop. But I didn't know how it was going to be interpreted by the game, but it is interpreted as a piece of bread.
Okay.
I mean, it may be a homonym, it may be something else we can give to the barman. I don't know. I haven't gone through and just given the barman everything that we've got just to see, if there's another meaning of the word yam or something. Anyway, I then doubled back and filled out some of the other things that we'd done. Went back into Arbit Maps and Antiques. We had an error where there was a conversation item that we couldn't trigger, which was about whether Brock seemed upset. We tried it over and over again, and it just didn't work. And so we left it. Obviously, it's a bug. But what I did discover, if you just say "ask upset," it triggers the response. And in fact, this is true for all of the conversation options. You just say "ask" and a unique word from the topic, and it will trigger the response. So it's much easier. Brock did not seem upset at all. He seemed quite excited, apparently. It's kind of, there was nothing useful about the response, but certainly didn't seem upset. Also, while I was in there, an old lady walked in and was part of the conversation, but we didn't have a topic option to ask her anything, which is quite odd. She said something in response that previously the woman proprietor had said in response, which I thought was odd. So I don't know if there's like an old lady NPC who's walking around that we have to interact with at some point, but I'd never noticed an old woman walk into the shop while we were there previously. Next thing, I tried really hard to get a screwdriver from the bartender. I just couldn't. If you try and take it off the bar, it says, you'll get done for stealing it. If you buy the screwdriver, she turns it into a cocktail. If you give her the cocktail to hit with a homonym stick and turn back into a screwdriver, she says, I've already sold that to you. Why are you giving it back to me? I'm like, I just want a fucking screwdriver, the tool, but there seems to be no way of getting it whatsoever.
Did you try the restoration gel on it?
No. Would that work?
Possibly.
Ooh. Maybe, I guess you could, yeah, restoration gel. I didn't occur to me that might work for homonyms.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the restoration gel only returns letters to the words, not.
I mean, again, that's another researchable because we certainly we got to the point at the end of last episode where we do have a use for a screwdriver, although we may not have realised. Anyway, I couldn't get the screwdriver. Maybe it's just because I'm an idiot. Also, I went into our apartment and our mother comes in, and in the course of that conversation, she mentions that her name is Rosehip. And so Alex's surname is Rosehip. So Rosehip must be one of the sanctioned names, but it's also the name of the artist who made the glass artwork with the random letters in the Fleur d'Or foyer. There was also a Rosehip. I also realised that the random letters, there's another object that has random letters on it, and it's the ball in the shopping bag. It says it has random letters in different sportive fonts. So I don't know if the random letters thing is useful or not. That's two things that we've seen that have random letters on them. What else? Oh, the activist. We skipped the activist nonsense when we went to the university. But I went through all of the conversation options, and there's, apart from just running away, which is what we did, there are two things that you can achieve with the activist. The first one is that you can completely piss on their parade and ruin all enthusiasm they have for the project they're trying to get off the ground. In which case they just go after someone else and leave you alone. Essentially,
Is this the toxic waste person?
Toxic waste, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What you basically you explain to them why it's a stupid idea and it's never going to work, because you're the expert, obviously, and you actually tell them your own plan, and she realizes that actually to do it properly would take between 50 and 100 years, which is what your time scale, what you've kind of um, assumed would be your time scale to actually create that kind of massive social change. Anyway, the other thing is that you just give them money. If you donate, they're so excited they drop their sign and run off because they've hit their quota for the day, and so you can pick the sign up. Although what use it is, I have no idea because it says Toxie Waste Now or something. And I couldn't turn sign into anything, so there's that. The paper, we cannot go back into the bookstore because the bookstore is closed. And I then went back to an earlier save when we hadn't done the bookstore yet and went in and redid the bookstore. And you can't take a ream, even when there's lots of reams. And you can't take a sheet of paper from any of the reams, whether there's lots of them or any one of them. There's
Right,
no
and
way of getting a piece of paper from the bookstore.
this
But
is because the professor's trying to print something on the printer at the
Yeah.
university. Yeah.
Yeah, so something's stuck in the print queue. The printer's out of paper. Presumably that's how we get our invitation. But we can't get it from the bookstore. When we go and see Professor Higgett, she asks us whether we can speak Lodgeban, which was a constructed language. We say no, we can't, and she's disappointed. And then we ask her where we can go to take the book back that we've got. And when we show her the book, she agrees that we must be a student, even though she doesn't recognise us, and takes us to the seminar room. There's no way of saying we do speak Lodgeban. I tried to pretend we did. We can't. Makes no difference. However, once we're in the seminar room, we can't do anything with the synthesizer in the plexiglass case while she's watching us. But as soon as we do return the book, she leaves, and we can then leave the seminar room and re-enter it at will. We can go out and come all the way back to university, go back in. It's not that location is then open to. So yeah, so those are the things. And
The invitation to the bureau is on the professor's desk, isn't it?
it is on the professor's desk, yes. But he also triggers something that starts the printer whirring, but nothing comes out. So yeah, I'm going to restore. Oh, I'm going to say yes first and then restore.
So I'm assuming that this restore is the one that has the SOP and other stuff, is it?
No, actually, it's not.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. That's.
Yeah, the other thing to sort of bear in mind with you sort of going back and doing stuff and finding out stuff is that we potentially now have another way of manipulating things if we can get the synthesizer to work.
Yes.
So some of these objects that are small little words like SOP, we might be able, if we can, if you want, that's part of a bigger word.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't know where.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a width, then we could make a SOP width camel.
That was the only word I could think of as well.
But so this is where we are. We're in the seminar room. We shut the door so we don't get interrupted. There's a massive plexiglass case, takes up one corner of the room. There's a compact but high-powered late model synthesizer in the plexiglass case. The big table at the centre of the room is an irregular polygon with one chair pushed up to the shortest side. If we examine the case, it says the case is made of very thick protective plastic on a metal frame. It is thoroughly locked shut. I don't think we'll have any luck with normal forms of approach. However, plexiglass is a cuttable substance with the right tools. And then there are screws at the back in the plexiglass case. In the plexiglass case is a synthesizer.
I mean, we do have a jigsaw.
Yeah, so we do have the jigsaw. So if we say cut case
It's not very subtle.
with jigsaw, It says we switch the jigsaw on. It's not a silent process, but it's not as loud as I had feared either. The jigsaw cuts straight through the plexiglass, freeing it from its attachment to the locking mechanism. There is a continuous angry whine from the jigsaw. Let's turn that off. Open case.
Yeah.
Thanks to our earlier efforts, the plexiglass is now open permanently. Well, that's true. I guess if we'd unscrewed it, we could have screwed it back in again. But there's no fixing cut case. Oh, if we look at the synthesizer, it says it's designed to accept 2 items and then be turned on. It is shiny and white and looks a little like a bathtub for very short people. In the synthesizer is a crossword. So I'm going to wear the monocle and look at the crossword. It looks like it's been snipped out of Charred Farmers Weekly, but it hasn't been filled in at all. There's a dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the crossword is a faint greenish image of a cross and a word. Actually, if I look at the jigsaw, yeah, there's a dismissive blat, and transposed over the jigsaw is a faint greenish image of a jigsaw. So maybe restoration gel does work if my monocle shows its original form. That is how you get a screwdriver.
Maybe the gel works on the crossword as well.
Yeah.
It can restore anything to its original.
So I could rub gel on crossword. We dip out a pea-sized quantity of gel and rub it gently onto the crossword with an audible splort. The crossword becomes a word and a cross. Let's look at the cross. It's handsome, made of metal, the sort of thing that might adorn a church altar. I don't have the expertise to say whether it's especially valuable. The monocle pings happily. And look at the word. At the moment, the word is prominently floating about in unmistakable Höfler lettering. There's a dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the word is a faint greenish image of a sword.
Okay.
Let's have that then.
When in doubt, get the sword.
It's a bit bizarre having a concept of a word just floating in the
It
air.
just floats in the air. I know, like other things, it sort of says, you know, it struggles to interpret an abstract concept.
Yeah.
What was the word again?
Prominently.
Prominently, yeah. The word becomes a sword. It's a slender, flexible 18th century sort of affair, rather than a medieval broadsword, possibly a valuable antique. This might have been an exercise in smuggling. The monocle pings happily. Okay. We can't move the 6th synthesizer. I mean, at the moment, I can't think of something that we need to make or can make out of the things that we've got.
No.
What are our goals now, Chris?
What I was about to ask
I'm
as
just going to
well.
close the... Okay. Goals. Speak to Professor Waterstone and get his invitation to see the T inserter. Gain entrance to the bureau and find Brock. Oh, by the way, I think we knew this, but I was reminded that the invitation is to a demonstration of a T inserter.
We did know this.
Because it was
Yeah.
written on the legend on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of locations that we haven't been to yet. The main one being down in the university. So we can see here we can go down. There's also a cafe of some kind south of Palm Square. There's also the Canadian Embassy that's east of Long Street South, but we can't get into that. There's the Bureau there, and then the other locations that we're aware of are the Outdoor Cafe and the Customs House. Those are I think, the only two remaining locations marked on the map that we haven't been to.
And we are assuming / suspecting that we can cut the vine stuff with the jigsaw down by the
Yeah.
beach.
Essentially. If
Or
we
the
can get back there, because at the moment our car seems to be on the blink and we'd have to use it to get back past the crowds on High Street. We can go round the roundabout and off towards the docks without even needing the car. But I think we need the car to get up the High Street.
So just looking at those goals,
We're on 50 points, by the way, so we're
yeah.
officially halfway through the game.
So going in reverse, we think Brock. Do we think Brock is going to this demonstration?
Yeah, or was at it, because I think it was scheduled for 11 o'clock and it's much later.
Yeah. Okay. And we think that we'll gain an entrance to the Bureau by providing them the invitation.
Yeah, nobody knows what we look like.
No, and we think the invitation it's either we've got to somehow get it off his desk, or there's the thing that's in the print queue.
Yeah.
So it might just be that if we can get paper, we can print the thing that's in the print queue. The professor will be really happy with the fact that we've managed to print it, and will swap it for the invitation.
Or leave and give us access to his desk or something.
Or just attack him with the sword.
Yeah, or we just go and attack him with a sword. I mean, we don't have to hit things with a hammer only, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should go down because we haven't explored what's...
Yeah.
I think there's another academic downstairs. I think we go northeast from here to Samuel Johnson Hall. Downstairs is the basement where the graduate students and junior instructors are kept. There's also this photograph that's hanging on the wall of Professor Waterston as the Shapley chair. Actually, another thing that I noticed, if we look at the photo, there's the Shapley chair is not named after the famous suffragette Phillida Shapley, but after a considerably less famous or interesting descendant, Lawrence Shapley, who was well placed within Dental Consonants Limited when it started up and subsequently had buckets of money with which to endow university chairs. So I think, I can't remember where I read this, but Dental Consonants Limited is like a tech company that makes these manipulating machines. And I think they are running the demo. This company, Dental Consonants, has come up previously.
One thing that occurred to me, although interestingly, you might just have completely disproved my theory, is what you were saying about there being a limited number of surnames on the island?
Yeah.
The only two surnames that I could think of at that time were both not double-barreled, but actually looked like they'd been synthesized. So we had Waterstone,
Rose Hip,
and Rose Hip. And I just wondered, again, just something that occurred to me, just something a pattern that I saw. Don't know if it's relevant or not.
No, I mean, yeah, there's other names that haven't, obviously, but yeah, you're right about those. Anyway, let's get cracking, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not going to be hard to figure out the solution. Okay, Samuel Johnson basement, dank and malodorous. There are no windows down here, and the drainage is terrible. The stairs up are here. The lecture room at the east. Immediately south is the graduate student office, and southwest is Professor Brown's office. The most interesting of all is the small door west, trying to look inconspicuous, but locked with a keycard lock. It's where the department stores its most dangerous licensed equipment. A large open carton stands against the wall right between Brown's lab door and the interesting door. Recycling, reads the sign over the carton. Place your lab-created items here for processing. In the large carton is a banana. Just beginning to get brown and spotty. There's a dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the banana is a faint, unappetizing image of a bandana.
Okay. I mean, we're slowly acquiring everything that we need to go to a fancy dress party as Zorro.
You haven't seen the wig yet. We dip out a pea-sized quantity of gel, rub it gently on the banana. With an audible splort, the banana becomes a bandana. It's a souvenir, bright Atlantean blue cloth patterned with the letter F, and a patch in one corner with the letters FRG, honouring the members of the Fricatives Research Group. Okay. We've got it.
Do we know what fricatives are?
No? Can someone look it up?
I was just about to look it up.
I presume it's a grammatical term. Or something. So there were a bunch of exits, though. Lecture room is east. South is the graduate student office. Southwest is Professor Brown's office. And then west is a door with a lock.
Don't we have a key and don't we have a card?
No. We have a key to our own apartment, and we have a ring that gets us through the gate into the university grounds.
Okay, so we have a key.
Yeah, but not a key card.
No, I know, but we can make a key card.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. If we can find a card.
Oh, Mike.
I've got a
Get
card.
the card, turn it into a card,
Yeah.
make a key card.
Yeah, I'm sure I was going to say. I thought we did have a card.
Yeah.
Because we had the chart. That's
No,
right.
no,
Yeah.
you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. I'm just being a complete doofus.
Nice. Well done.
What Chris would being a doofus.
How do we put them together?
You
In
stick him
the
in the
synthesizer.
up and press the on button.
Oh.
Sorry, that sounded really the synthesizer.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I can't see the card, though. Essentials.
When-
We're also carrying some ale, an as, some asparagus, a ball, a bandana, some Britishizing goggles, chard,
Chard.
cross, gas,
Chris.
guidebook, heel,
Chard.
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 chard. I was looking for the appointment card to get into the antiques, but you're right. Okay, remove. Oh, this time it's strength. A young nude lady lounges in the embrace of a giant squid. They are apparently on very good terms. Okay, well, let's just go up. And then southwest. And
We can get the card back out of this, can't we? Because we can restore them back to.
well, I'm going to save.
I don't think this game is gonna block us, is it? Doesn't feel like it.
It hasn't so far. I'm really worried about time. I'm just sort of every time that I look, I just realise that time is important. It's like
Yeah, it's late afternoon.
maybe that's because I remember playing Fish and we had to do the whole thing of find everything out and then start the game again, do it quickly.
Okay, check this out, though. We put the card in the synthesizer. Voices from the hallway. I freeze. For a moment, we hear them all too sharply. You check downstairs. I'll ask the professors. It's a conversation of security guards or police or bureau officers. Someone is being looked for. Then it's over. We put the card into the synthesizer.
I mean, they might be looking for Brock, of course.
Why would they be looking for Brock in the university then?
Well, I mean, as opposed to why they would be looking for us. Although we did just cut the machine open.
Yeah, well, I'd imagine they're looking for Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Or
going to turn
one
it
of the
on. Are you
process.
guys ready?
Yeah. Do it.
We got 1 point for this, whatever we did. The synthesizer hums like a microwave oven for 43 seconds, then pings. Inside, there's a key card, an electronic pass card with a powerful-looking stripe down the backside. There's a dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the key card is a faint greenish image of a card and a key.
If we've got security wandering around, I'll take the monocle off.
Oh yeah, put.
Hey, scores got by 3.
Yeah, so we've got another 3 for picking up the key card. Right.
We're over halfway there, guys.
Stay with us, Rosie. Stay with us.
Down. Open. I mean, should we just go straight into the special door, or should we actually just look around down there? All right, that's good.
At least see if it doesn't work.
We've made it. We've made it now. Let's go.
Open small door. We unlock the small door with a swipe of the key card. We open the small door. West, right? Before we go through the door to the rectification room, that doesn't sound good. It occurs to us that Professor Brown is just next door and that he's likely to be able to hear if we do anything in there. Possibly some kind of masking noise is in order.
That sounds to me like you need to do this in a certain order, and that's not the right thing to do yet.
Yeah, check the other rooms.
Yeah.
What do we have that can make a noise?
The jigsaw?
What did you say, Mike?
Exactly the same as
Oh,
you.
okay. That's why I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Like noise cancelling headphones or something. Okay, well let's I think East was the lecture room, was it? Lecture hall. Let's start here and have a look around. The main lecture hall used for large survey courses in language studies offered to undergraduates. I sat through courses here when I was an undergraduate myself and have now delivered a few lectures as a teaching assistant. The room extends south, full of hard wooden seats. Abandoned on one near the back is a coat. A poster at the front of the room announces a conference on cultural reactions to linguistic change. It is being held in Nice the day after tomorrow, with Professor Waterstone as keynote speaker, on the topic of homonym shame. Somehow I had forgotten about the date of this. I've been too much worried about our escape.
I think if you turn the coat into a cat, oh no, we can't make live things, can we?
No, were you going to introduce it to the dove?
It's just going to be a noise-making thing.
Swing it around. Obviously, we could make a cot or an oat. The coat's been abandoned here for a while, since this isn't the time of year when people wear coats. It's brown cloth, only thick enough to keep out rain or a mild chill, and it's rubbed shiny at the elbows. No wonder the owner didn't miss it much. Now I need to put the monocle back on. It is a coat.
You know, in the coat, is there a way of checking pockets?
Look in it. Search coat. Oh, search just as a search. We find nothing of interest. Oh, there's a new part of the description of the room. It says someone has taped to the wall a course advertisement for next quarter, inviting interested undergraduates to enroll in Interlingua 101, probably Professor Higgott's work. Look in coat. Nothing of interest. I mean, we have no use for it currently. Look at the advertisement. In large type, Interlingua 101, learn a language you already know. In smaller type beneath, Interlingua, so blah, 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 blah. It looks like it's all in Esperanto. Interlingua is the modern Latin. Okay. Oh, Interlingua, that's one of the constructed languages, isn't it? Okay. Monocle pings happily. I don't think there's anything else to do here. So, I guess we go west. Oh, the room extends north. Lecture hall at the podium. The main lecture hall used for large survey courses, blah, blah, blah. Poster at the front of the room and acts as a conference on cultural reactions. That's the one that we were talking about. So now we can look at the poster. Usual sort of thing. The conference title set out in papyrus font. A stock daguerreotype of a portly woman holding a letter remover the size of a policeman's cosh, inset with pictures of the major speakers with pride of place for Waterstone himself. Okay.
But of course we can take the poster now, can't we?
Yeah. Ah, podium. An advanced pre-wired podium that allows the instructor to project slides from a laptop or show movies. On the podium is a page. A sheet of lined paper, presumably left by the person who lectured here last. On the page is written visualization, training, preparation at a young age, cooperative direction of language outcomes. Try just putting the page in the printer and see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can't move the poster. Go south.
I think you want
We can't get the advertisement either.
to go north and then west. I think when you said get the coat, I think it automatically did a south.
Ah, yeah. That would explain why that poster suddenly wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It confused me, but that's I think what happened.
Yep. Okay, well, we could try just using the page before we go into Brown's room. Well, there was another office. The graduate student office was southwest. Have a look in there. Okay, Brown's lab. Professor Brown, the reification of abstracts researcher, is hunched over his work table. Brown is only barely a professor at all. Actually, his working title is senior lecturer, and he holds a yearly contract which the university has the option to renew at whim. This prevents him from going elsewhere while ensuring that he never has a fully funded lab of his own. All the electrical equipment down here is tinker toys compared to the stuff he really wants. In fact, half of it he built himself with components he bought with his own money. I know all this because Brown cornered me in the hallway one afternoon and talked to me for 20 minutes straight about the pressures of academic job hunting in the current political climate. I tried to get him to stop, but he's like a wind-up toy. Don't touch anything, please, he says, without looking up. I'd like to ask what he's doing. Well, I think I can ask doing. What are you up to there, we ask. Asking Brown questions when he's working is a bit of a crapshoot, I tell you now. He wiggles his nose back and forth. I knew him for 3 months before I figured out what the wiggle is. It's his hands-free way of working his spectacles back up his nose when they start to slide down. Without looking at us, he says, I'm getting ready to do a new calibration run on love. This is a favourite of his because you can get it so easily from a glove, so the materials are inexpensive. We could ask what love looks like, or ask how Professor Brown makes abstracts. What does love look like then, we ask, as though I hadn't seen this a bunch of times already. It varies, Professor Brown replies. The manifestation of a complex concept depends on a variety of circumstances. By default, if multiple concepts are available, the letter tool will produce whichever concept requires least energy to produce. But in cases where several concepts are indistinguishably popular, the results are apparently random. Recent research suggests that the outcome can be influenced by the language community surrounding the operation and even by the intention of the tool's user to a limited degree, but I'm not interested in pursuing those angles at present. There, Professor Brown in a nutshell. Did he tell you anything you wanted to know? No. The deal is that manifestations of love tend to look like stuff you'd find on a greetings card. Roses, hearts, kiss symbols. Every once in a while you get something a little more platonic, but it's a letdown. If you want to know the truth, most significant abstracts are all like that. All you get by reifying them is a popular visualization. What equipment do you use to make your abstracts, we ask. It's just an ordinary letter remover with a few adjustments, Brown says. The department's computer can lift some of the legal overrides on standard letter tools. The job would be easier if I had access to higher powered machinery, but... My response would be to ask whether he can fix the letter remover. Could you fix my letter remover to make abstract objects as well? It's not difficult, you just... Oh, stay here. I'm not supposed to bring students into the rectification room. He takes the letter remover and steps out into the hallway. I can hear him using his keycard on the door, going into the little room west of the hallway, doing something there. Don't bother thinking we're going to cosh him and take the keycard. I'm sure there's a better way. And I don't cosh people. He comes back in a minute. There, he says, should be abstract enabled now. I'm inclined to ask what he thinks of the letter remover or thank Professor Brown. Score's gone up by 3 points. We have a modded letter remover. Is there anything else that could be done to upgrade my letter remover? We asked naively. Nothing I can help you with, I'm afraid, he says. There are some safety overrides that could be programmed out, allowing you to make living creatures, but that's... He does his spasmodic shrug. One of those things where I think the laws have a point. It's dangerous and possibly even cruel. My response would be to ask why reifying living creatures is cruel, or thank Professor Brown. Why would it be cruel to make a living creature, you ask? We don't know whether such creations have awareness and sensation like other creatures, he says. If they do, it's horrible to bring them into existence only to send them out again. That's wonderful, thank you. Yes, well, he says, don't show it to anyone. Technically, you shouldn't even have that.
I mean, was there anything that we'd ever tried to do where we couldn't because it was an abstract concept?
I mean, I don't, not that I remember.
No.
We might have just dismissed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that second modification that he won't do is the one that we've come up against a few times. I mean, the kudzu to kudu thing, it's always struck me as such an obviously, like elegantly manufactured thing that it has to involve converting kudzu into kudus. I mean, why choose kudzu of all the things that it could be? Anyway, blimey, this, I mean, the more we get into this, the more impressive I think this game is. It's not funny. It's clever without being funny or really hard. Like the puzzles are not hard, but just the world building and the amount of just taking a simple idea and just making it completely consistent. Like, this is believable. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like a proper piece of science fiction. You know, it's absolute. It's like Philip K. Dick writing about, you know, a civilization that uses marmalade as their currency. You know, and what kind of a civilization would that be? That's what it's like.
Yep.
So I mean, I really do appreciate and respect it as a piece of interactive fiction, I guess, but it's not laugh out loud funny. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. But equally without puzzles. But it's, you know, yeah, without puzzles that really stump us. Although I just think we're going to get stumped because the number of things that we've got, the number of capabilities we've got, are just becoming overwhelming. Like every new thing is now kind of increases the number of options we have exponentially.
I mean, unless it's also being incredibly clever. And actually, as we already know, there are lots of ways to solve puzzles.
Yeah.
So it might just be that, yes, we've got lots and lots of things, and there's lots of things we haven't done because we don't need to, because we did other things instead.
True.
Um,
Yeah, maybe it's endlessly replayable, and you can solve. You know, you can figure out what everything's actually for. But even just the idea of having objects that you can manipulate means that you have to think through every possible thing that you could do to them and what the consequences would be. And so you'd think that the person creating it would try and keep it as narrow and as small as possible, and they're just not. It's just flipping objects all over the place.
Theoretically, we're getting enough tools. We can make anything out of anything.
Oof. Yeah.
So just to summarize the tools that we do have, we have a standard letter remover. We have a abstract letter remover.
Well, it's the same thing. It's just modified. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we can, we can added to that is we can make abstract things.
Yeah.
We've got the synthesizer where we can put things together.
Yeah.
And I guess we've still got the homonym thing if we go back to that hotel.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Yeah.
The mirror, the
Oh yeah.
the mirror by the gate that can reverse the word.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we've got the Englishizer as well.
Britishizing goggles.
But that doesn't do anything apart from just for us, does it? So far.
Yeah, but,
No, but I guess you'd combine it with something.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess it would allow you to manipulate something with a different spelling if you were wearing them.
I mean, it quite specifically said it allows you to insert a U into certain words.
Yeah, and it will turn Zs into Ss at the ends and stuff.
We also obviously have origin paste and restoration gel.
Yep.
And we have plans as well. We've got these plans for something. What were the plans for? Oh, this is what it was. The plans. Property of Dental Consonants Limited. Unauthorized use illegal. Prints from the main computer design, but still including to the right engineer, they might reveal the secret of T insertion for replication by other companies. These are what you and Brock were originally contracted to lift from the island. So we have the plans to the T insertion machine, and we're literally about to walk into the bureau with them on our person, and they're too big for us to even put inside our backpack.
Okay, so basically dental consonants have created this T insertion device, and they're the only ones that know how to make it, and we've nicked the plans because they're valuable because someone else might be able to make it.
Yeah, we were contracted to steal them. That was our gig.
Corporate espionage.
Yeah, and now we're trying to get off the island, I mean, we're just blatant mercenaries. We're not ideologues. Poor Alex is.
It's interesting what you just said, because that's something that's also been going around my head is what is our ultimate goal? Is our ultimate goal just to get off the island? Is it to get off the island with the plans? Is it to do something else? Is there a possibility? You know, it says the score is 57. We might get the option to escape the island, and we escape the island having scored 57 points.
We might.
I don't know.
I mean, there might be multiple endings. That's kind of a thing in modern gaming.
Yeah.
There might be like an easy solution or a lazy solution, or the more complete solution. Anyway, I thought that was the office. How do we get out of here? Is it west?
Northeast.
Oh, northeast. This is why I need a map. South is the student office. Southwest is okay. So let's go south into the graduate student office. A small windowless room divided into cubicles for individual graduate students. A tiny refrigerator stores lunches sometimes and looted leftovers from department receptions when available. On top of the fridge, there's a coffee maker. My cubicle is the one with the swivel chair towards the back of the room by the water cooler. I cleared everything subversive out of there ages ago, and now I do most of my work at home in the apartment. It's safer that way. We can see a sticky on the swivel chair. I half recognise the handwriting, but I'm having trouble placing it. One of the other grad students, but I'm not sure which. Stickies can become sticks. Sticks can become sticks. Examine sticky. Please be careful. The blue hats are watching you. The monocle pings happily. Someone's written, please be careful. Let's get the sticky.
I'm actually going to suggest not getting the sticky. We know the message.
Well, just because it can be turned into something.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Examine coffee maker. It's the cheapest possible variety donated by one of the older students and is constantly overflowing and needing to be taken away to be cleaned of loose grounds. But it does work more or less most of the time. Coffee maker is currently switched off. The monocle pings happily as we sight the coffee maker with the crosshairs. Could be quite noisy.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 7 minutes or so left. We can either try and make some noise and go west, or we can go up and use the page and the printer, or both if we're quick.
I have to do the page first.
Yeah, okay, let's do the page first. So north, up, southeast, is it? Office. Open paper tray. Oh. Paper drawer. Only fresh printer paper can safely go into the paper drawer, and it must be the right size and in quantities of no more than a ream. Hmm. We need cream. Wonder if there's some in the fridge.
A dream is an abstract concept.
But we can turn things into abstract concepts by removing letters. But we need to have a dream to start with to turn it into a ream. Some cream and a silver platter.
Very
Okay.
good.
Set the device to C. There's a distinct spearmint flavour, and the cream turns into a ream. One ream, which is a 500 sheets generic printer or copier paper. Okay. Good. Up. Was it south? East. Put ream in drawer. The ream fits exactly into the depth of the drawer. We adjust the plastic clamps that hold pages in place until everything is snug. Close drawer. The paper drawer slides back into place with a click. The printer whirs as though clearing its throat and then begins to spit pages rapidly into the output tray. Examine output tray. In moulded plastic, it's an integral part of the printer body. Currently, there is a draft document on the tray waiting for the owner to come and collect. Okay, let's get the draft document. We take the draft document. It's 15 pages, double-spaced, and appears to be the draft of a talk Professor Waterstone is preparing to give at a convention. I immediately notice, however, that several portions of the speech are marked with angry triple asterisks. Waterstone's way of marking up parts of text that need serious revision. The talk concerns homonym shame, the anxiety felt in the Victorian era and still manifested at times in modern culture about objects that shared the same name as, and therefore theoretically might be converted into, something rude. Methods of disguising the legs of pianos and crotches of trees occupy a good portion of Waterstone's exposition, and there is a page-long aside on methods of making sure that donkeys are known by that name and not by the alternative. To judge, however, from the angry asterisking, Waterstone is still looking for at least one more example of an object susceptible to double entendre that has been successfully rendered innocent by some linguistic modification.
We're going to take the document to his office, I guess, go and try and knock on the door.
Are we in his office?
No, we're in the department office.
I think we went into his
Oh,
office.
yes. North to Waterstone's office. So he shooed us out and left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did he go?
Yeah, we lack a key that fits Waterstone's office door.
Did we use it to make the key card? Do we need to restore it?
No, we didn't. We never had a key to his office. We had a key to our apartment. And if we try and go to Higgett's, we open the door to find two students, a boy and a girl, sitting at Higgett's table. The boy sipping tea, and the girl is paging madly through the Lodge Band book. Oh, says Higgett, you found what you needed, I hope? I'm afraid I'm busy now. So I duck us back out and close the door. Knock on Waterstone's door. Waterstone looks up and gives a little frown. It's clear he doesn't know why we knocked. To be honest, I'm not sure why we did either. Is he in the... That's almost as if he's in the door, in the office. Or we can see him through his office door, maybe. In his office. You can look at the mailboxes. There are slots for all the professors and graduate students. Undergraduates, of course, are too insignificant. Blah, blah, blah. Look at Waterstone's mailbox. Waterstone is in many respects a brilliant man, but he also has a spectacular capacity for ticking people off. He has the dry, offbeat sense of humour whose output... Okay, no, we can look at Waterstone. We can't look at his mailbox. It's interpreted, look, examine Waterstone's mailbox. As examine Waterstone. Okay.
I mean, it's 8 o'clock, so we need to finish. But who's got the invite? Waterstone.
It's on his desk, yeah.
It is on his desk. It does feel like it's presented us with another puzzle, doesn't it? But to get into his...
Waterstone is still looking for at least one more example of an object susceptible to double entendre that has been successfully rendered innocent by some linguistic modification.
Just look at all the things we've got. Have we got anything?
A ball. We have a crumpled cocktail napkin. Where do we get that from?
We also have an as.
As.
We have a piece. Somebody could have removed the cod.
A ring.
A ring and a piece.
Maybe we need to put them together.
But yeah, even if we can answer it, what do we do? Do we sort of, can you say show something to Waterstone, or?
I have no idea. We've got a shrimp tail.
And a stuffed octopus.
Yeah, we've got a stuffed octopus. Where did we get this napkin from?
Wasn't it on the bar?
It's trash. Why it wound up being archived in the refrigerator is anyone's guess. And we've got shrimp. No meat left, just the remains of one shrimp tail with the flesh bitten off. Evidently the platter is left over from a department function. No one else has bothered with doing dishes. On the silver platter are a crumpled cocktail napkin and a shrimp tail.
That's
Cocktail.
cock. They cock.
Okay. I think we're going to leave it there.
Yeah. I was really hoping that we'd get to 60 points, that we'd have done 10 points in a session, but we're not quite there.
Well, I think we learned a lot. It's not as straightforward as we thought, maybe.
No, because we're now stuck.
Yeah, a little bit. I
We've
mean,
got one more place in the university that we haven't been yet, I think.
oh, well, look. How do we get out of here? I've totally lost my bearings.
If you want to go somewhere, you can just say go to and then the name.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. You're right. I am going to go into, where's the graduate student office? It's south. Turn on coffee maker. Okay, we can't turn off on the coffee maker. No. Okay, so that's not the solution. We can't take it with us either. So I don't think that's how we make noise. I am going to save it.
I mean, it might be that we don't even need. I know, of course, we made the key card. Of course, we need to get into that room. I don't know, just weird.
He said it was. I can't remember what name he gave for the room, but it didn't sound good either. Anyway, that's it. We're done for the week.
Mm-hmm.
We can all mull it over for a whole week and try and figure out what the fuck's going on. I tell you what, I will send the inventory of everything that we have on us to the WhatsApp group, so you can all go through it and try and figure out if any of this makes sense.
Now, I know that you're going to hate me for saying this. What would be even more useful is not only what we currently have as an inventory, but what, if we've changed any of them, what the original was.
Yeah, we need to know what the original word is. Don't
Right. Okay. So I have been on the map. I've been marking all of the things that we find and noting what their original form was, or what we've been able to turn them into. But I haven't gone through the whole map yet. But that's another thing that I'll do this week. I guess is backtrack right back to the beginning. But yeah, we do need maybe we need a new text document of all of the objects and their original forms.
Thinking exactly that. That actually feels like a really useful thing to have.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. There's a job for you.
Well, I'm not sure how I meant to produce that.
Well, I'm going to give you the list of everything we've got, and you'll just have to remember. You've got 9 hours of YouTube video to go through. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.